What's going on, you guys? So, I know with everything going on, we're all searching so desperately to really create that change we want to see in the world. I know I am. Honestly, I feel so motivated, fired up, so drawn, so driven to using any means I can to be a source and an example of an embodiment of what it is that I want to see, meaning love, peace. I understand this strong urge and desire I think we all share to see that on a global, collective level. And yeah, it has to happen. But I can promise you one thing, it won't happen on a global collective level until it happens inside of us. And it may not necessarily be the most immediate message that everyone wants to hear, but it does start with you. Because so long as any kind of fear or hatred or anger sits inside of you, we're not fixing anything. And certainly not if the actions that we're currently taking are coming from a place of anger and hatred. Every action we take needs to be rooted in love and compassion. And if we think that we can just point fingers or keep raging on about all the problems we see in the world and not attempting, not trying to do the work internally also, we're not going to see the changes that we want to see. So it has to start with us. And I can promise you, if we all honestly took inventory of our emotions and our thoughts and started to work through that, started to try to understand that, started cultivating these feelings of love and gratitude inside of our lives on a day-to-day basis, if we all individually did that, then collectively, I promise you, we would move in the direction that we want to see the world move in. There's a lot that people are trying to do, and you see the desperation in their faces, you see the desperation in their actions. We desire, we crave change, but we each had to take personal responsibility for creating that, and we create that externally by focusing on the internal and creating it within ourselves. And so I'm telling you right now, that change that we're looking to see in our country, in the world, it starts with us. The beauty of it is we can start right now. We can start right now. And so my challenge to you for this week is going to simply be this. Think about 5 to 10 people in your life right now closest to you. Think about how you engage them. Think about how you speak to them. Think about any kind of resentment or anger you might feel towards them. And see if you can start to engage in real, true dialogue and communication where you're both seeking to understand one another, to listen to one another, because listening is probably one of the least taught and utilized skills. We're not taught to listen. We're just always trying to shove our thoughts and opinions down other people's throats without fully understanding where they're coming from, why they're coming from, the stance that they're coming from. If we could work on cultivating skills like that, imagine. Like, that's my dream and that's my vision for the future. I want children to learn how to engage with themselves internally through different practices that you guys always hear me talk about and teach. but also learning these interpersonal skills, creating emotional intelligence within people so we can learn to start relating to one another. Imagine that. What does it mean to also cultivate forgiveness? Again, think about those 5 to 10 people in your lives that maybe you're not on best terms with. What does it mean to cultivate forgiveness for things said or done? I encourage you to start with the easier ones because I don't want you to just jump in and start tackling the biggest challenges and resentments and wounds, but build momentum by starting with the smaller ones. You know, there's this misconception around forgiveness that it implies that you somehow condone what the other individual said or did. And that's not it at all. In fact, to be honest with you, forgiveness is not even about the other person so much as it is about you. And notice how I keep coming back to you. It's about you because it's about you letting go of the trappings of that resentment, of that anger that you might be feeling. I'm not sure who said it first, but it's a brilliant quote. You know, anger is simply you drinking the poison hoping it'll kill the other person. It only hurts you. And of course, in creating all those negative states inside you, you then act from those negative states when you engage the world, when you engage other people. It starts with you. So let's start doing that. Let's start cultivating this inside of ourselves. Start with those 5 to 10 people in your life this next week. Again, start easy, build momentum. But this is how we grow. This is how we learn. And this is how we create deliberately. Find time for yourselves to engage in silence, stillness, and solitude. Use those kinds of practices. The ones I always talk about. You know, there's so many different forms to meditate. You can use so many different techniques for that, whether it's watching the breath, or even like a moving meditation or a mindful walk, you know. We have to learn how to make friends with our internal selves, not keep shoving it down, repressing or suppressing everything, right? We have to engage those deeper, darker parts of ourselves. Can't keep distracting ourselves, numbing ourselves. That's how we create change. That's how we create a better world. It starts with us. So, with that, I leave you guys. Wishing you much love. An incredible, beautiful day. Peace.